Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Adrienne and I make videos on makeup related products, beauty content. In general, I'm a licensed esthetician and a makeup artist. I run a bridal makeup artist business, so I look at makeup from the perspective of an artist and as a consumer, but I love eyeshadow palettes the most. So if you really like creating eyeshadow looks and learning about the different formulations of palettes that are out there, this is the right channel for you. So today I am going to be diving into the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I picked this palette up last Friday from Sephora during the Sephora sale. This is the Unicarton, and I did get 15% off of it from my local Sephora, and this is what the outer packaging of the palette looks like. And this rose quartz packaging is really pretty, but I have to say, once I did see it in person, it's not as pretty as I thought it was in the promo pictures to begin with. And the back of it is just a plain, like, kind of plastic gray. This isn't the traditional Huda Beauty packaging where she does the pictures of her eyes, and a lot of people don't like that. I happen to think that it turns out really gorgeous, and also when you open it on the inside, it's got a mirror just like all of her other large palettes do. This palette does retail for $67. Normal price when it's not on sale. These are the colors in the palette. I have had a chance to use all of the colors in the palette, and throughout the video I'll be showing you some of the looks that I created. This is now Friday when I'm recording that, and I did that Tuesday night, all three looks, so my eyes weren't really happy with me and they did swell up my eyelids. As you're looking at the look that I have on right now in the video, I don't have any false lashes on, and the reason why is because I do plan to record more videos today, and my eyes are not really playing well with the glue from the false lashes, taking them on and off. So I chose to skip out on that for you guys today so I could create more content and not have to pause and take so many days off. But this is what the palette looks like on the inside. I'm going to go and point, shade by shade and talk a little bit about what I thought about how this palette performed, because it is a kind of pricey palette. $67 to me is a lot for a palette. So I'll be letting you know what kind of versatility you can expect from this palette and what the formulations worked like and how easy the shades were to apply. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys swatches of this palette on my complexion, and I'll be right back. Into the palette now that you've seen the swatches. This shade that I started out with, as you can see, it's that marbled shade that has two tones. These whole first three shades and then this rich shade here, the darkest shade in the palette, is what I decided to go with. I wanted to see if this palette would create like the basic, just kind of neutral brownie look, because when you look at these shades, they do look like a brownish color, but I didn't find that to be true once I got them on the eyes. And this one pulled like a little more burgundy-ish, plumish burgundy, this deep shade here. So that was kind of a surprise for me. And obviously I can't really tell you, when you get her palettes, the marbled shades, they do make the palette seem really special, and it also does make each one of the palettes unique to you, because I can't tell you what your marble combination is going to be like. You may have more of the lighter part of the marble or darker part, so how you mix that is going to vary every day that you pick up the palette to use it. And that's kind of something I like, but at the same time don't care for with this palette, is if I'm going to try to get up and get a quick look in, I don't know exactly what it's going to turn out with the marble shades, because I'm not sure like how the mixture is going to go together. I am going to go ahead and play a little snippet of what that first look turned out like, and then I'll come back and describe to you what it was like to work with each one of these shades. So this shade, like I said before, I showed you the clip of what my first look turned out like. It does vary in what it looks like. That is what I put on the lid for my shimmer. And then this is what I put in the crease here. To begin with, I always start with my darkest color in the crease, and then to kind of transition and blend out the crease a little bit and lighten it up, I took this shade here and just buffed the edges of the shade in the crease and kind of took it to the inner brow bone. And then I went in with this shade here on the outer V to deepen it up, but I took this shade and I went in on the outer corner to kind of marry the lighter metallic shade in with this before we went into the darker crease shade. I do have to say that I am happy that I went ahead and took like a 2 or 3 day pause in between recording those first 3 looks and coming back to you at the last look and giving you my first impression. Because the night that, Tuesday night when I did do that first look, I didn't really care for it at all. And because I wasn't wearing my glasses, I couldn't see on the viewfinder really what it looked like. So before I started recording, I went back and looked at the little snippets of the video to make sure I had everything that I needed to add to the final part. And the look did turn out pretty good. It was okay, and I liked it a lot more than I did the first night. But this, it's not something that I would really reach for, the color, something that I would prefer, but I did like these 2 shades and I thought the mattes performed well. They blended nicely. It just was a surprise because what they look like in the pan is not how they come out at all on the eye. So that's something that always gives me a little bit of cause for pause. If it's not going to be like a regular daily type palette that you're in quite frequently, you may pick this up and think you're going to get a brownish look out of these 2 shades, and you're not. It's going to pull a little more burgundy pink. So they're kind of like a mystery shade. And if you like to have surprises, then that might be something that you really go for in a palette. And this shade, I saved it for today purposely. I did not get into it until today. That is what I am wearing on the lid and kind of down towards the inner corner. It is this shade swirled together, and I tried to swirl an even amount of both shades together, and then I wanted to make sure that I used this glitter topper here. So the glitter topper here, towards the lash line right in here, I went in with the brush and just added a little bit to spotlight that eye. So that's what you're seeing on my lids right now, is a combination of this with this for a spotlight. And then to blend this outer V color, the deepest shade in the palette, I did go in with this darker blue shade here to kind of marry all that together, so there wasn't going to be such a big gap between the lighter metallic shade to the darker matte shade. So I thought that blended out pretty well. This shade here, I'm going to go ahead and pop a video up of the look that I created with this shade, because that was my 3rd look Tuesday night. Okay, so for this shade here, I do have to tell you that once the look was done, I looked at it and I thought, first I thought, I'm not real happy with this and I don't like it. It's kind of okay, but I didn't enjoy working with this shade at all. I sprayed my brush every time I went into it, and I had to pack this on 3 different times to get the intensity that I got, and I wasn't really impressed with that. For a $67 palette, I feel like to get an intensity, I shouldn't have to, with a wet brush, you know, apply this shade 3 different times. That being said, for the lighter shade that I mixed in on the lid, also in the inner corner and in the tear duct, I kind of went in with this shade here. That took just as many times. I had to apply it 3 times also with the wet brush. It was not easy to build up. The marble shade in here, it does turn like an iridescent type pink. So it looks a lot different on the eye, than it does in the pan, and depending on what the swirls are like in your palette, the color might be even more different, because like I see an iridescent pink in here, and then I see like a gold shade here, and then it looks kind of more champagne throughout. So your palette will be unique to you, but I didn't care for the performance of this shade or this shade in that look, and I wanted to pair it up with this shade here. So I used this and just kind of buffed a little bit of this into it also. And then I went in with this deeper crease, not crease shade, but outer V shade. And that's how I created that look. And it was getting better. It was one of the better looks that I liked out of the palette that night. Like I said, I was giving it a rough time and was starting to feel a little bit disappointed that night when I put that look together, but I'll tell you my final first impression thoughts after we go through the rest of the shades. And this shade, I really enjoyed how it performed, and I like the way the shade looks on my complexion. It's a beautiful, like, lavender type shade that's not really bright. It's between like lavender and plum on my complexion, so I really like that about it. And I really did like this metallic shade here. It went on and it applied with a lot of metallic. The metallic didn't take a lot to build up. I think I did apply it with a wet brush, but as soon as I put it on, it was popping right away. I didn't have to build it up. And this shade here, I purposely saved it for you guys, the COVID looking shade. I don't think this one looks nearly as bad as last year's holiday palette, the Naughty palette. I thought that did look more like the COVID virus. This one does look like just metallic pearls, but I wanted to swatch this live on camera for you guys, so I'm going to go ahead and ruin the way it looks and get my finger in here. And it's just like a glossy type shadow shade. See if I can get that to come into focus for you guys. This is what it looks like on my finger, and I do not really want to put that on my eye. I don't think I'll ever wear it on my eye, but this is what it swatches like. I really do feel like it's gimmicky, and I really would have preferred to just have another regular shadow shade in the palette, but apparently this must work well for her, because in this collection she created a whole highlighter, which I in no way am interested in purchasing or owning. That is that formulation. Maybe for an editorial look, if somebody wants a glossy balmy type look, that would be good for an editorial look. Or if you're doing a more natural, no makeup look, kind of just want a sheer gloss, maybe that would be a good eye shade. But I wouldn't want the creasing, and plus I would be nervous that I would end up with that metallic shine way down in here if it got warm with my body heat and started to move. And for the second look, I'm going to go ahead and pop a picture of that up. Not a picture, but a little video snippet of that. I decided I wanted to do an all pastel matte look just to see what these were going to perform like and how they were going to build up. So I'll go ahead and show you a clip of that. I will say that I really enjoyed working with the mattes, and for being pastel mattes, they went on easily. I did not have to work these hard at all to get the color payoff. They were smooth, they weren't super chalky, the color just went right on and it built up, and I liked the look for a matte look, especially for pastels. I used this, and I wanted a little bit of burgundy. So that's what's in the crease first to deepen that crease, is this little burgundy looking shade here that looks like a brown in the pan, but it really isn't. And I know I used all the colors in this palette, so everything is on somewhere with all of the looks except for this gross looking shade here. But it went on really well. It went on so fast, and that's why I was able to do 3 looks in one night. It looked really good. I would wear that look again. I had no problems getting that matte look. Okay, so on to this shade right here. This shade here, I have worn it. I think I have it on the inner corner right now in the tear duct. I'm not really noticing any difference between that mixed with these shades. Like I said, this shade here, I did take it and put it down in here today to blend in with this shade. It's a glitter topper and it goes on really nice. I did notice that I had some glitter fall out, so if you're concerned about that, you may want to use a glitter primer when you go in with this shade and this shade because they're both glitter toppers. But like I said, this matte I used with that matte look and it blended and the color built up really nicely. And this one, I really like this shade also. To me, it comes out looking different on the eye than what it looks like in the pan, and I feel that way about a lot of the shades in this palette. It's definitely one that if you're going to have it in your collection, I would suggest you swatch it and take pictures of the swatches on your complexion if you're not going to be in it frequently, because you may want to peek at that before you create your eye look. Otherwise, you may end up with a look that you didn't necessarily think you were going to get. But these two mattes perform really nice. And this shade here performed really pretty also. I have this shade, I can't remember which look that I put it on with, but this shade performed nicely. And this shade, that glitter topper, like I said, works really well. And overall, just all of the matte shades perform really well in this palette. My final first impression on this palette, I'm happy that I took the 3 days to review it. The first night, I didn't think much of it at all, and I was questioning whether or not I was going to take it back to Sephora. I thought maybe I would try it because I do sometimes get models to come in and just practice some of my makeup skills and try different color schemes. I thought, oh, I'll take it and try it on one of them and see how it looks. But after seeing how some of the shades that would be a little more subdued, that would work for a bridal look, that I would be reaching for, like this one and this one, the fact that I didn't like how they performed and I felt like I had to work to pack it on, that makes me not want to use it for that purpose. The only thing I could see going into this for with the bridal look is that matte and this shade here. And it really, I wouldn't want to carry a palette this size in my professional makeup case just for a few shades if I can't use everything in the palette. And the fact that it's not a predictable look, because those marble shades could give you a different hue each time you use it, that would make me be a little hesitant to use it for my professional makeup kit in itself, unless somebody wanted a more dramatic look like this. And this one is my favorite look out of the entire palette. I have to say that I like this look the most. It may be the thing that saves me from taking the palette back, because before I got into it today on Friday, I really was thinking that I didn't want to keep this palette for $67, but I really don't like returning stuff to Sephora unless I absolutely dislike it. I know you can get your money back and everything, but I just get the feeling that if so many people keep returning things, that eventually they're going to get to where they get rid of their return policy, or, you know, the brands are going to continue to raise the prices of the products higher. So I try not to return things unless I absolutely hate it. I'm still on the fence with this palette. I really am not impressed with the fact that, you know, there's 3 shades in the palette that I probably just won't use at all. This one, and that gimmicky shade there, you know. I can work with these and get them build up, and they do turn out to be a nice look. I do feel like there is a variation in looks between just going all matte, and I haven't even done every matte look that you can do, because these, you know, I think you could get a beautiful matte look out of those separately. So there's a lot more things I want to try with the palette, and I may actually try this on a model just out of curiosity. But I'm still kind of on the fence. I think this look is gorgeous, and like I said, going back and seeing what I did Tuesday night, my first 3 looks, they don't look bad once I'm recording the video. But is it worth $67? I don't know. If you really like the looks that I created today, then I would say, you know, go for it. most of the shadows are a good quality and they go on really quickly without a lot of effort. But is the whole palette effortless? No. And that's something that really gives me cause for pause at $67. I feel like there's so many drugstore brands or affordable indie brands that are really knocking whole palettes out of the park. So to spend $67 on a shade that's gimmicky, like that glossy shade, and I can't imagine, I've just not heard many people say that they're excited about that glossy shade at all. So that's already one shade for me that's X'd out of the palette for me and my models. But to have two shades that I feel like I have to wet the brush and pack and pack and pack is really just unacceptable. And I'll just keep you guys posted on any updated things. And you know, I have some other Huda Beauty palettes, so I'll probably be ranking them, but you'll see more videos first of me working with them, because a couple of them that I have, I've been in one of them once, and one of them I haven't touched outside of swatching the colors. So I want to really get a chance to play with that and see what I think of them. But her brand as a whole, her prices are, you know, kind of getting up there to, they are high end. They're not luxury, but they are high end. And I have had, you know, like some hit and misses with some of her palettes and products. So that concerns me as a brand. To me, I don't feel like she's one of those brands per se that, oh, you know, she gets something so you need to just run out and get it and it's going to be great. I don't necessarily have that feeling with her and her palettes, but this isn't a total like bomb or anything. I just need to get to play with a few more of these colors. But right now, if you're on the fence with it and it's not something, you don't have anything similar, if you have something, I mean to say, similar to this, I would say hold off on it. Just sit back and wait till some of the newness of these products wear off, because I'm not sure that this is really worth $67. But I'm so happy that you guys came to my channel, and if you watched this far, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the like button, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye-bye.